GVD 1, 2, 3. This is my strategy, growth, value, dividends. And this is how I build out a very well diversified portfolio over time. And this is how I can weather a storm. This is how I can weather making a mistake in a stock or losing money on a stock, right? Because you will lose money on stocks. And this is how I can weather that storm because I own several stocks in different categories. Some are the growth stocks, some are value, some are dividend stocks, right? And so the way I'll kind of put it to you like this is you're going to have your main growth stock that's going to be your biggest position. Then you should own another growth stock that's a little smaller position. Then you should own another growth stock that's a little smaller position. Then you should have a lot of money in a value stock of some kind. Then a little less money, then a little less money, right? And sometimes value stocks and dividend stocks go together because a lot of value stocks also pay dividends. And then maybe you have a spec stock, a hedge stock, or something to hedge your portfolio overall, right? And then the beautiful thing with this strategy is there's different opportunities in different places of the market. And you've got to learn there's certain elements you have to learn to be, if you want to do what I'm doing and outperform the market, beat the market, you have to learn these different disciplines. You have to learn how to growth invest, how to invest in dividend stocks successfully, value stocks, especially if you want to do this over a 5-10 year span, right? Because anybody can outperform the market over a day, over a week, or over a month, maybe even over a year. But over a 5-year or 10-year span, that's a whole different ballgame when it comes to that. There's no luck involved in that. Now we're talking about strictly skill. And so by learning the disciplines of a growth investor, of a value investor, a dividend investor, you can put yourself in a position where you can capitalize on any sorts of opportunities out there in the market, which certainly 2022 is a perfect example. 2022 was a year no one wanted a piece of anything growth stock related. So if you knew what you were doing in regards to growth stocks, you were able to pick up a lot of great growth stocks at insanely undervalued valuations throughout 2022. It was incredible. We haven't really seen deals like that when it came to growth stocks really since honestly like the great financial crisis in terms of the amount of growth stocks that were down 50, 60, 70, 80% was a long list of great growth companies, right? There's certain other years where value stocks and dividend stocks are more of a, let's call it opportunity. And actually in 2023, that's where I see a lot of opportunities in this market. A lot of value stocks and dividend stocks are really good values. And so if you own all these different stocks, you understand these different disciplines, you could be a well-rounded investor. If all you know how to do is growth invest, or all you know how to do is pick value stocks or dividend stocks, you're just going to limit your returns in a substantial way over time. And you're going to miss a lot of opportunities. You're going to get into some stocks at some very bad prices. And the way I look at this, right, is each and every month, you should have your financial life in a situation, right? If you look at kind of, what you have coming in for income versus your expenses, you should always have some fresh capital out there, right? And depending upon where the opportunities are, you're able to deploy capital in wherever those opportunities are, right? So let's say you got, this value stock right here is trading, it went down another 20% and you feel like the market's got it completely wrong, you can put fresh capital there, right? Let's say no one wants a piece of growth stocks at a particular time. Let's say this was 2022, right? You can put your fresh capital in those growth stocks. Like, man, this is like, shooting fish in a barrel, as they say, right? Deals everywhere. And so GVD 1, 2, 3, building out your portfolio, make sure you have your money allocated in the stocks you believe in the most, but make sure you're staying disciplined. Growth stocks, value stocks, dividend stocks, okay? Now, next up here, this is very important, okay? Apple and Meta are at war right now, and this war is heating up in a major way, okay? Now, basically, Meta stole a lot of employees. We could call it stealing. We could call it just, offering a lot more money to basically Apple employees, Microsoft employees, but specifically Apple, okay? Now, Meta attracted a lot of those folks because Meta's getting into the hardware business in a huge way, okay? And gosh, if I was going to steal employees away because I was building a massive electronics hardware business, where would I want to steal those employees from? Oh, probably Apple, because they're like the best in the world at this game, okay? They're the most profitable. They do this game at a high level. And so in 2021 specifically, and at the beginning of 2022, Meta stole away a lot, and I mean a lot of high-level Apple employees, okay? Some of those employees have been fired in 2023. Now you say, that's ruthless business, man. They stole those people away, then they fired them a few years later. Believe me, man, these aren't the type of workers that make like $40,000, $50,000 a year. The type of employees that Meta stole away from Apple are the type that make hundreds of thousands of dollars of compensation a year, even millions of dollars of compensation a year. They're the type of employees that were probably making $700,000 a year at Apple and said, you know what? Meta's offering $950. And although Apple's been loyal to me, I want $950,000 a year because I'm so valuable. Those are the type of people that ended up likely getting fired. But Meta got all the information and knowledge you could ever want in how to scale a business that is also a physical hardware business as well. And so Meta's got all the secrets now at this point in time, and they got it, man. They basically bought the secrets. That's all I can say. And that's perfectly legal business. We know these companies have been at war for a while, right? Apple's hurt Meta a couple years ago in a significant way with all the data stuff they did, all the data changes. That hurt Meta in a massive way in terms of their business model. And Apple made Meta look like the bad guys, and they made themselves look like the good guys. Really, it was just, Apple understanding we could take tens of billions of dollars of revenue away from Meta if we make a few slight tweaks here. We're going to cause a massive headache from them, which is going to cause them to hire less of our employees away, which is going to be able to allow us to pay our employees less because they don't have somebody competing out there who's going to beat us out, okay? And so that's the situation that's been going on, right? And now Apple's Vision Pro has been announced. Now, this is another thing that I think Zuckerberg should thank Apple for basically getting a lot of buzz around this. We know if Apple's going to do a hardware product. We do know it's going to get massive amount of buzz because it's Apple. It's Apple. Like anytime Apple launches a hardware product, it's going to get a massive amount of buzz because of the history of Apple. We do know that, okay? But the interesting thing is, in regards to this, right, is here we are, we're going to have Quest 3 shown off in a much deeper way here in about 2 months. And this is a product that should be able to scale in a massive, massive way, right? And this is a product that's going to be priced around $500 or so versus obviously Meta Quest after tax, you're looking at nearly $4,000, right? So they're clearly going after different markets. Now, let me show you the internal message that was given by Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg, to the Meta team here, okay? Because he actually responded, it was a day after or 2 days after, to Apple Vision Pro getting announced, okay? And this is what Zuckerberg said in regards to this, okay? He said, Apple finally announced their headset, so I want to talk to you about that for a second. This was him talking to Meta team, okay? He says, I was really curious to see what they were going to ship. And by the way, Apple's not shipping anything anytime soon, okay? That'll be more 2024, 2025 thing. And obviously, I haven't seen it yet, so I'll learn more as we get to play with it and see what happens and how people use it. From what I've seen internally, I'd say the good news is there's no kind of magical solution that they have on any of the constraints on laws of physics that our teams have already explored and thought of. They went with a higher resolution display. In between that and all the technology they put in there to power it, it costs 7 times more and now requires so much energy that you now need a battery and a wire attached to use it. They made the design trade-off, and it might make sense for cases that they're going for. But look, I think their announcement really showcases the differences in values in the vision that our companies bring in this in a way that I think is really important. We innovate to make sure that our products are accessible and affordable to everyone possible. And that is a core part of what we do. And we have sold tens of millions of Quests. More importantly, our vision for Metaverse and presence is fundamentally social. It's about people interacting in new ways and feeling closer in new ways. Our device is about being active in doing things. By contrast, every demo that they showed was a person sitting on the couch by themselves. I mean, that could be a vision of the future of computing, but that's not the one I want. There's a real philosophical difference. I can never pronounce that word. Philosophical. You do it for me, okay? Sound it out for me in the comments section. Difference in terms of how we're approaching this. In seeing what they have put out there, they're going to compete, just made me even more excited in a lot of ways and optimistic on what we're doing matters and we're going to succeed. But it's going to be a fun journey, he says, right?